I'm a believer in full automation and artificial general intelligence. General intelligence being the idea of intelligence that can operate in all domains just as the human brain can, rather than, say, narrowly crunching a table of numbers involved in highly specific processes, as existing computers do. I believe that artificial general intelligence is possible, and that machines can reach or even surpass the level of human mental capability one day. Not only that, but I believe that day is coming soon, and that it's almost inevitable at this point. I think it's worth explaining why I believe this. Firstly, I must address the if question, whether artificial general intelligence is possible at all. I believe this is a simple question to answer. The if question. If you are a materialist or a physicalist, you believe that matter and energy are the foundation of the natural world, and that all phenomena that exist are products of reactions involving matter and energy. Now, there is no way to 100% prove materialism, but the alternative is a supernatural worldview. The scientific method is based on the idea of materialism, and its track record in discovering how our world functions should provide some empirical evidence to point you in the direction of a materialistic worldview. If we wish to know whether artificial flight is possible, we only have to look at the existence of birds for empirical evidence that flight altogether is permitted by the laws of physics. Then it's simply a matter of accumulating knowledge about the laws of physics in order to answer the question of how birds fly. Similarly, if we wish to know whether artificial general intelligence is possible, you only have to observe in the natural world the capabilities you wish to replicate. The mere fact that humans exist as a species and have built our civilization proves that general intelligence exists. This means that the laws of physics allow for it, and since the scientific method allows us to determine bit by bit what the laws of physics are, if there were no resource or time constraints, that process would eventually come to encompass general intelligence, giving us the knowledge of how it works, what arrangements of matter produce it, and allowing us to replicate it artificially. Now, we don't have infinite resources. Even if AGI is possible, it could be 100 years away, 1,000 years away, 1,000,000 years away. It's important then that we next answer the when question. The when question. The first question we might want to ask is about the current state of automation technology. What is happening right now? Right now, in this time, we exist in a world where artificial intelligence has been going through an explosion in advancement. In 2011, a system known as Watson competed on the Jeopardy game show, and not only managed to parse natural language well enough to understand the questions and retrieve the correct answers from its database of knowledge, but was able to outperform the human competitors and win the show. It is now being used as a knowledge aid for doctors. In 2016, a system called AlphaGo beat Lee Sedol, one of the best Go players in the world. Machines keep mastering more and more complex games, and we keep moving the goalposts. We live in a world where right now there are signs that automation is slowing hiring in California warehouses, where computers can transcribe the contents of a phone call with greater speed and accuracy than humans, where smart malls with artificially intelligent systems are being built. Robots like Baxter are being designed to replicate human workers on assembly lines, where financial work that would take a human 360,000 hours is being done in seconds, where automated bricklaying machines are poised to put thousands of jobs at risk, where self-driving cars are just over the horizon, and just recently a Chinese factory run by the Changying Precision Technology Company has replaced 90% of its workers with machines, with the result that production rose by 250% while defects dropped by 80%. This is now. If you want to see more examples of current automation, check the links below the video and check the Twitter account Human vs Machine. What about the future? The automation of labour is set to continue. Accountancy firm PricewaterhouseCoopers came out with a report that 30% of existing UK jobs would be at risk by the early 2030s, though they predict this would be offset by new jobs. Another accountancy firm, Deloitte, gave an estimate of 1/4 of business services jobs that would be at high risk by 2035. As for achieving general intelligence, a poll of experts in the field of artificial intelligence revealed a median time frame of 2040 to 50 for a 50% chance of high-level or human-level AGI, with super-intelligent machines following in the 30 years afterwards. So I feel that it's reasonable now to say that the when question can be answered with this century. It is always possible that certain things could speed progress up or slow it down. That's worth assessing too. What could slow it down? Anti-science loons, Luddites, intersectional social justice advocates damaging the fabric of society.
If I personally were committed to enforcing decolonization, science as a whole is a product of Western modernity and the whole thing should be scratched off, especially in Africa.
Religious conservatives.
Christy, something happened a long time ago in Haiti, and people may not want to talk about it. They were under the heel of the French. Napoleon III and whatever. And they got together and swore a pact to the devil. They said, we will serve you if you'll get us free from the French. It's a true story. And so the devil said, okay, it's a deal. And
These are all actors who could slow down the progress of techno-capital towards AGI and full automation, but it seems more likely that they could pervert the uses of AGI than prevent it from coming into being altogether. Even misguided tech giants could make mistakes. Bill Gates has proposed the particularly stupid idea of taxing robots that take jobs. There's an assumption that we want to keep jobs instead of carving a path towards a post-labour world. We wouldn't tax something we wanted to encourage. Taxing robots directly will just disincentivise their use, leading to a slowing down in adoption. What could stop it entirely? Some kind of global war that is so total in its destruction that it blasts humans back to the Stone Age, though a war that didn't manage to achieve total destruction would likely speed up AGI development, while putting us in the dangerous condition of over-centralised artificial intelligence in the war machine for the singular purpose of destruction. The other option is some kind of global Luddite dictatorship that presses development down everywhere, but even that would itself require a world war to achieve before we reach AGI. So we have to accept this. So, how can we speed it up? We could subsidise AI and automation research, give tax incentives for companies to automate, which would be the opposite of Bill Gates' plan, and provide low regulation environments for businesses to operate in, possibly involving special enterprise zones. How can we deal with the consequences? The idea of artificial intelligence always brings up images of hypercomputers going out of control, leading to the end of humanity. We should endeavour to avoid that. We should fund research into what is being called friendly AI, to try and work out how we can get intelligences greater than ours to follow our commands in ways that produce outcomes we are happy with. Everyone knows the fable of the genie that takes a wish as worded literally rather than extracting the intention behind it. That's a topic for a whole other video, though I suspect that using AI to automate tasks where the parameters are already well known will help avoid this pitfall, versus using AI to impose completely new conditions on the world. We should also make sure that one entity doesn't monopolise automation technology, make sure that we don't over-centralise things around a single automated system, or network of systems. The more centralised and singular superintelligence is, the more expansive the consequences and the harder it will be to stop, because in the event that it goes wrong, a machine in control of the entire planet could end everything. We must make sure that AGIs are friendly, but we must also not put all our eggs in one basket, and if we achieve friendliness, then we still need to decentralise things so that if one AGI goes rogue, becomes unfriendly, it is not in control of everything and there are other AGIs to stop it. We must not build an all-encompassing Skynet or pursue the idea of centralised planetary intelligence. There must be some concept of mutually assured destruction for the AGI. So what is sometimes referred to as a singleton must not be allowed to bootstrap itself above all other machines. It must have peers. If we can solve these problems, then we just have to work out what is to be done about humanity. As I've said in other videos, a basic income guarantee must be put in place at some point when mass technological unemployment kicks in. It must be noted that such a universal welfare system would become a lot less expensive as automation drastically lowers the cost of production. In addition, as part of the goal of avoiding monopolisation, individual ownership of AGI in the form of robotics must be allowed, and while this would increase individual risks, it would spread out the collective danger of centralised administration of production. It can also be considered a futuristic counterpart to the right to keep and bear arms, along with the primary purpose of allowing individuals to gather automated private capital with which to accumulate beyond the level of the basic income. As I said in my techno-decentralism videos, automation will also allow us to eventually pursue transhumanism and merge with machines, This will allow us to avoid being left behind and allow us to transcend the limits of humanity and spread into space. We may not get this right. This is a dangerous period in our development, but we only have two choices. Either we grow upwards and accelerate off this world before it's too late, or we regress into Luddism and darkness. The end of life in the universe will come one day, when the stars at last go dark. But we will last a lot longer by surpassing human limits than we will by suppressing them. It's the all or nothing gamble, but there's really no choice about it. We're strapped into this train, riding an explosion of progress or destruction, and there's no brake lever. Sweet dreams.